Reach Higher Shasta originally, 10, 12 years ago, when it came into inception, was a standalone organization that really was a collaboration of Shasta County Office of Education, the college options programs, and county health services. Really focused on improving educational outcomes which would lead to better health outcomes here in Shasta County. And we've been working on those things together for the last 10 plus years.
Reach Higher Shasta started in 2011, January of 2011, and North State Together, it didn't form until quite a bit later than that. And so McConnell Foundation was our philanthropic organization right at the beginning. And they sat with us as part of Reach Higher Shasta. And the more they saw about the work, the more they said, we would love to see this same model take place in the other counties that we support and serve.
I'm superintendent here at Shasta Union High School District. We have the 3 comprehensive high schools here in Reading, Foothill, Enterprise, and Shasta. I've been involved with Reach Higher Shasta fairly early on. I was brought in maybe about a year into the initiative, and my role there has largely been representing the secondary schools, so the local area high schools, and then working on initiatives to just help improve outcomes for high school kids.
In terms of strategies, it's, for Shasta County, we have 25 school districts, 15 charter schools, and each one of them could be focused on something different. So really the largest strategy is to say, students in Shasta County, we have over 50%, in most years it's somewhere between 56, 58% are considered low income. And so from that, they often will move from school to school to school over the course of their K-12 experience.
It sort of breaks down on 3 specific areas. One is just academic preparation. So we want to make sure kids achieve the most difficult courses, the highest GPA, to have the best academic skills they can. And quite honestly, the second piece for some families is financial. We do have a lot of students who are first generation college. And so that again, has some fear attached to it, and also just some unknowns, because if the parents have not had the experience themselves, they're not necessarily sure how to navigate the system, and that's where we need to come in and support them in terms of our counseling services and informational items to make sure that they have the information they need to make good decisions, and also support them to take the leap, so to speak, and make that courageous jump into the next level.
One of the things that we really want to continue focusing on is that within Reach Higher Shasta, you think of it as a cradle to career, right? So how do we better support at that cradle level? Parents have this brand new newborn, and how do we help them with some games or tools or ideas on how to help their child develop over those first few formative years before they head to preschool and then to kindergarten.
And then the other piece of it is just, sometimes it's fear. It's the idea of getting out of the area and improving and pushing forward. There's sometimes fear in making that jump. And so that's where we have to talk about our culture and how we need to support kids and going out and making progress and coming back and then supporting the community here.
So these students are our county students, and how do we work together in order to support students as they move through the grade levels? And so one of the strategies we used very early on was to say, can we have common assessments in kindergarten, first, second, and third grade that really say, what should a student know and be able to do in reading in second grade, in kindergarten, so that we were consistent across the county, so that if a student or when a student moved from school to school, the expectations are similar.
Financially, there's tons of resources out there that we can help them and their families. And so if we can just get them to want it and to change that mindset, then I think we'll be pushing kids much further.
And probably the most recent piece is the connection with Strive Together Network, bringing to the North State a nationwide initiative, a whole new level of support that has other examples of this being done with rural. Right, so that we're not just reinventing the wheel in the North State, but we're learning from other places in the U.S. that are already in the Strive Network and figuring out what they're doing that we might be able to benefit from.
So North State Together has provided that resource for us, so they can do some data analysis and provide outcome data back to us that we can better fine-tune our initiative to help students.
North State Together can provide trainings that are specific to the needs of rural areas. The data hub that I spoke to earlier, really being able to have experts when it comes to data analysis and the aggregation of data as well as the disaggregation of it, as well as just other supports as various initiatives are branching out and trying new things, to be able to have someone there to be able to say, well, have you talked to so-and-so, because they're doing some of this work already.
So I think our success really comes back to what we've stated as sort of our mission, and that's every student, every option. And what that means to me is that all of our graduating students here in Shasta County will have as many options available to them after high school as possible. So for some kids that means going on to colleges or universities. For other kids that means maybe going into a technical training program, the local community college, the military, or even straight to the world of work.
We aim for 100 every year to acknowledge the huge range of schools students are leaving to go attend, whether that's a trade school, whether that's a 4-year, 2-year program, whatever it is. And then they hold up some sort of swag representing that post-secondary option and tell their career plans as a result of attending there. There's many different ones we could talk about. One of the ones, the counseling initiative over the course of the previous 5 years, we started with how do we help counselors provide consistent information across all students in all schools. And we saw a pretty dramatic improvement in terms of those who are graduating prepared, according to the state indicator on the California School Dashboard called College Career Indicators, or CCI.
I've had 4 kids go through our high schools, and to varying degrees they've left the area and come back, and it's all with the idea of being successful, and it's worked out for them, but that is something we have to help all families do.
Certainly the strength of North State Together is in the connections between the different counties. They know the work that's happening in each one, and they're able to say, oh, you're working on that, this county's also working on that. And that is a great networking support.
I think that is a big component that we rely on. And then it does come back to, again, just the collaboration between the groups and the sharing ideas and focusing on common goals. And without North State Together, that'd be very, very difficult to do.
What's great about that is it's jointly funded through lots of different sources. First Five helps us with the transitional kindergarten and kindergarten. Shasta County Health and Human Services helps us as well with some mental health clinicians. Our school districts pay in support of this. Our office, we've received grants. And so it really is this effort. It's all about how do we come alongside our families to better help and support them get their students to school so that they can learn and be successful.
And we bring kids who may be going to community college, we may be going to CSUs, UCs, private universities, military, trade schools, all different forms of post-secondary education and training, and we bring them together, award scholarships to these students, and just celebrate their choice to pursue post-secondary education. And we're really proud of that initiative.
One of the things that came out of the attendance initiative was this need for more support for some families that were really struggling. And oftentimes what they were struggling with was outside of the school's ability to help with. Maybe it was transportation, maybe it was filling out an employment application. It ran the gamut in terms of what the needs were.
When North State Together came to be, that allowed us to do a better job partnering with other North State initiatives, Expect More Tehama, Trinity Together. That allows us to not just share ideas, but learn from them and potentially collaborate with them on things we can do to help all kids.
So Strive Together is a model that we looked at way back when Reach Higher Shasta began, and it was centered in two larger metropolitan areas. And it didn't, at first it was like, yeah, that's what we would strive to be, no pun intended, but they had dialed in some outcome measures for students, looking at what does it look like to have students reading at the end of 3rd grade.
Exactly. In fact, really Reach Higher Shasta was born from looking at data that showed the local health services, the Shasta County Office of Education, and College Options came together around the idea of a better educated community actually is a healthier community.
Reach Higher Shasta, from the Shasta County Office of Education perspective, really does provide an opportunity to have a singular focus for 25 school districts, 15 charter schools, all working together around one aim. And that's helping all of our high school students graduate with all options still open for their future. Whether they choose to go military, whether they choose to go trade school, 4-year, whatever they choose, all of those options are still open for them when they graduate. And that really takes a coordinated effort to make sure that we are all moving students through grade levels in a way that they're prepared for that next step.